Sounds good to me.
My kind of bad timing. Greetings, sentient beings. This stream is not intended for children. It will involve some adult language and mature themes. Sorry, I'm kind of scrambled up here. So, anyway, as I was saying just before we connected here, I'm going to have to keep this one short today because I was doing a lot of driving today, so I've got a headache and it's hard to keep my eyes focused for very long. So let's see. We've got in the side chat, Be Mindful, Bit of Tea in Danish, and Randolph and Jenny Morgan. Hello. By the way, did everybody see the thumbnail for this before we started? That was Randolph's work.
Oh, that was good.
Yes, he did the custom picture. And yeah, he surprised me with that one. It was just something that he got inspiration for, and he sent it to me.
That was really good.
Yeah, I just looked at it like just before we hopped in here, and it was then that I realized that the wagon was being pulled by triceratopses.
Yes, orange triceratopses. So, yep.
So what's going on?
Just having to get all my projects finished up, everything that I was already committed to before I knew I was going to move, and then in between finding time to pack.
Packing's always the worst part.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... And my last 3 moves have all been under really bad situations. So it's a very anxiety-provoking thing for me. But at least this time I'm going for something positive. Yep, and Sloth Girl's helping get me through it.
That's good.
I'm sure it'll go fine. The move.
Oh, yeah. I'm a bit concerned just as far as the animals, how they're going to do for the long car ride, and then them adjusting to their new territory. But, the important thing is just to reassure them that, even though we're going to be in a new place, the 4 of us are all staying together.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that bag of gummies that Sloth Girl was talking about, like you could anonymously send them to people. I thought it was going to be something where you bought the bag and sent it to somebody, and then like they would know it was from you, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Basically, it's like almost the same as one of my ideas that I had a long time ago. Except for I wanted to mail people dog shit.
I thought you could do that.
It wouldn't surprise me that there's a service for it, although I'm not sure how the post office would take it. Because couldn't that kind of, fall under the heading of hazardous waste.
Yep, I just looked it up. There's poop senders, and yeah. Now, I've got a funny story about penis-shaped candy if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Well, with that kind of a lead, and how can it not be?
Actually, I've got 2 because it's the same group of people twice.
Okay.
So before I moved to Atlanta and I was living in South Carolina, I started dating this guy, and he was big on MySpace forums. and there was a video game forum there. We all made a bunch of friends, and a lot of them were up north in the Philadelphia, New York area, up in that area. And we got together for a meetup, and we went to South Street in Philadelphia, which is this shopping area with like all kinds of stuff. And one of the highlights of the street is a condom kingdom. And so we decided that this group of people, probably 12 of us that had never met, the best place to hang out for the first half an hour of a meeting would be inside the condom kingdom. And go in the condom kingdom, and we're goofing around. And one of the people actually made, you guys are familiar with the show Tosh.0, right?
Yeah.
He had a reverse photobomb list at one point, and one of the pictures from our group made it to like number 3, and it was one of the guys standing in front of a wall of vibrators giving a double thumbs up. Well, behind him, along right underneath the wall, was this little boy about 3 years old, just standing under a wall of dildos, completely oblivious to what was going on. But they had these penis-shaped suckers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $1. And so I picked it up off the counter, and I went to every guy in this group, and I'm like, if I buy it, will you eat it? And most of them were like, no, no, no. Finally, one of them said yes. I'm like, okay, bought it, gave it to him. We go outside the store, and he's standing outside of the condom kingdom sucking on this candy dick, and we're recording it, and everybody's laughing and telling him that he needs to, give it a reach around and tickle the balls and all this stuff like that. And if this doesn't prove that this is not for children, I don't know what will.
Oh my.
Yeah, and then so a couple years later, we all met up again, and somebody found like ring pops, except they were little penises.
Yeah,
And
I'd
so
seen those.
we all got them, and we started dueling with them. And whoever's broke first was the loser. So we were in the hotel room dueling popsicle dicks. And it was just...
Oh, we lost her.
Oh, yep. She's learning a new phone she just got, so that had happened once before.
Oh,
That she
okay.
hit the wrong button.
Where's the story?
There
There's
she
the
is.
story.
I didn't hit the button. It just was like, you've said dick too much, and kicked me out. I don't know.
Your phone doesn't like you swearing, huh?
I'm actually on my computer, but it's whatever. So I ended up losing really early in that dueling dick. I don't know what happened. Mine just snapped with the first swing. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to stand there and watch. Later on, some of the guys are, sucking on the ends of what's left of them, because they've all been broken in half. And we start drinking. And this was a concoction that one of our friends had come up with. It was like, she called it a green python, and it was a shot. It was Jaeger and all kinds of different stuff in there. And I go to take this shot, and I did it wrong, because I breathed in the wrong way, and I started coughing. And one of the guys looks at me and goes, "Look at that, PK can't take dick." And I was like, it was a shot. It wasn't the pterodactyl scream. But yeah, those are my semi-entertaining stories.
Yeah, they have a problem with the Shills show because the YouTube thing keeps wanting to censor every time somebody says dick. So anytime somebody makes a reference to Dick Dawson, it holds it until one of the moderators approves it.
Yeah, the funny thing is that the video that was taken of him sucking on the thing was on YouTube, and I used to be able to find it, but the guy's in a he's in a semi-popular, not semi-popular, but semi-successful band now.
Yeah.
And so I guess he had somebody take it down, because it was just like, I don't need that kind of publicity. which is, fair.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be something else too. That when I'm live on camera, somebody may come up with some of those pictures. Once people know what I look like. Years ago, there were some of those uploaded to the internet.
Mm.
I don't have any such thing. So, yay.
Oh, and I don't care. I'm doesn't bother me if people do, but
Can I pay your deduction, please?
okay, yeah.
I will outbid anyone.
What? Oh, oh.
Sloth Girl is trying to
sorry.
pay me not to show my face now because she doesn't want to be associated with this.
I will outpay anyone.
Just to put it out there, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yep.
Oh, yes, it is. Happy Valentine's Day.
Or, in my neck of the woods, it's Single Awareness Day.
Faye says it's Single Awareness Day.
And yes, I did use finger guns for that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's another one of those days where the suicide rate tends to jump up.
Mm-hmm.
Because the media and especially advertisers put such a big stress on it that if you're not in a relationship, there's something wrong with you.
Nah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I have one of those weird relationships when it comes to Valentine's Day. It's like I never had a good one until my current relationship. And so, like, I've always been like, fuck Valentine's Day. But then I sit here and I secretly want him to buy me flowers and candies just because, for 20 some years, Valentine's Day just sucked for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, no Valentine's Day. Bad holiday.
I think I know what the problem is, though, for most people. Not saying all people, but most people. You know how people get their hopes up and blah blah blah, and they over romanticize something.
Yeah.
They think happens with prom and Christmas and special events. Most of the time, you're going to be disappointed, especially if you blow something up. It's like a movie premiere. If
Yeah.
you think the day is going to suck, most of the time you can salvage it.
Yeah, but if it's so overhyped, it can't possibly live up to the expectations.
Well, my idea is take the day for yourself.
Yeah, see, I have another weird thing for it because I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. So it's really hard for me to hear anybody say Valentine's Day without me adding the word massacre.
Well, see, the issue that I ended up having with Valentine's Day was, of course, in high school. I wasn't popular. I didn't have a lot of friends, and so I never got Valentine's in school. And then once I started dating my ex-husband, his mother was born on Valentine's Day, and he was a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
So every Valentine's was spent at his mother's house. And
okay, that would be a little weird.
Yeah. And then with my ex, we broke up like 3 weeks before Valentine's Day. So, but I mean, that was less of an issue than the previous stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been real good on the romantic stuff. It's like once in a while I get it right, but yeah, and especially if it's like for holidays where it's expected, trying to plan it out, yeah, things always go weird.
I think Valentine's only bothered me until 4th grade when I figured it out that it's just a day. And it's okay for it to suck. And people who, like, maybe I was cynical even as a kid, but I always thought grand gestures of romance were
Yeah.
kind of suspect and weird.
Yeah. Well, with my fiance, it was a lot easier because she had had a lot of sucky relationships. So it's like it didn't really take much to really, just totally hit a home run with her. That like our first Valentine's Day, I I just went and bought some of the little mini cake tins that were heart shaped and you know, just some heart shaped muffins. And, to her, that was just a really big deal. And it's like, I thought it was a cute little thing. And yeah, to her, that was fantastic. So yeah, it was a lot easier with her.
I remember having to sit down some of my exes and say things like stuffed animals are not a good idea. I'm not really that type. You want to make me
Uh,
happy, don't drag me out in public, and don't give me something that I'm going to have to dust.
mhm. Well, with my fiance, I did wind up, getting her a lot of little stuffed animals just when I found things that somehow related, and that was one of our things that like every one of them was named, and yeah, we had backstories for all of them. So sometimes when she couldn't fall asleep, she would just grab a couple of them at random and give them to me and say, "Okay, tell me how they all met." So I'd have to like make up a children's story on the spot there about these like three animals and how they got to be friends.
Mm-hmm. That's very cute. My ex was really disappointed because he had given me a teddy bear and I gave it to the
I'm
cat.
sorry, what's her?
Because I gave the teddy
Yep.
bear to the cat, he was offended.
Eh,
He
Yeah.
was like, what's going on here?" And I was like, "What? She loves it." And he's like, "I gave that to you." I went, "Yeah," and I gave it to the cat. He was so mad.
Yeah. Sloth Girl had gotten a big teddy bear, things like 3 feet tall, and her cat has taken it, and she uses it as a mattress. But yeah, it is definitely Petunia's teddy bear now.
I think I gave every stuffed animal I ever owned. I ended up giving to an animal instead.
Yep.
Not really my thing.
Yeah, I always had a big collection of stuffed animals when I was growing up. So, and actually, I wound up I was making them for quite a few years. So I won a whole bunch of ribbons in the Minnesota State Fair with stuffed animals I made.
That's pretty cool.
Yep, because I was creating my own patterns, so they were all completely original ones. What?
What?
I do.
sloth girls in the background.
Yeah, she was saying she wishes we had pictures, and I have some pictures. I'd have to scan them into the computer. Yeah, they're some I kind of found by accident, and that's when I first started making those. I was living with Sloth Girl, and her daughter was like about 3 years old. So we were telling her that they were monster chasers. So then it was part of the nightly ritual that before going to bed, she had to gather up all the ones that we had and formed them up in this big semicircle around her crib before she went to bed, so that they were all standing guard.
Because of monsters.
Yep. Yeah, to keep the monsters away from her at night. So she is what, 34 now?
Really?
Yeah, she was born in 85. So yeah, she'd be 34. She'll be turning 34 this week, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me feel old.
Yeah, well, that's what I keep running into, that so many of the people in the community here are younger than children I've raised. Actually, my oldest stepdaughter is 38.
So does that mean we get to tag you the community grandpa?
Yeah, I'm a certified old geezer.
You're the last old dinosaur.
Yep.
I'm
Well,
wondering
you know,
if
that's why even the dinosaur avatar had to have the gray beard.
which is funny.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I'm just not a romantic.
Yeah.
That's entirely
Again,
possible.
it's just like sexuality. It's different people are to different degrees, and to some people they just don't connect with that kind of thing. For the most part, I haven't been neither. For me, there isn't really any strong connection between sex and romance. And it's like, I can enjoy either of them on their own. They don't necessarily have to be together.
Mm.
See, I'm the opposite of that. I can't see doing sex without the romance part. It's like one night stands are not something that I think are physically possible. Well, I mean, they're physically possible, but I don't think it would be possible for me to do something like that.
Yeah, well, for me, sex is just a hobby, and I can enjoy it strictly for the physical sensation and not expect anything else with it.
For me, sex is a chore for the most part.
Yeah.
I remember having a boyfriend who was like, let's celebrate our anniversary. He's like, when is it? And he's looking at me like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I was like, well, why would I write down that kind of thing? No, you should just remember it. It's like, how can I remember that?
Yeah. Jenny Morgan saying in the side chat, any gift that was made by the giver is a spectacular gesture and could easily make me cry, but I'm a big sissy. And then right after that, she said that you should make a stuffed animal of a chicken just after being butchered, a real life farm toys.
Okay.
So that's the way to get Jenny all mushy, apparently, is to give her a stuffed beheaded chicken.
I can crochet that.
Oh, yeah, now you've given Sloth Girl an idea. Now she's going to crochet one. She's going to crochet a headless chicken.
Oh my. What will its name be?
What are you going to name it? Okay, yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Because that's part of the deal, isn't it? You have to name stuffed animals.
Yeah, somehow I think his backstory involves standing up on a roller coaster.
Its name has to be Mike.
Inside the car at all times.
Mike?
Mike.
Okay. Pirate Case says his name has to be Mike.
Because there was a real Mike the Headless Chicken.
Oh, his name is Mike?
Miracle Mike was a Winnedot chicken that lived for 18 months after having his head cut off.
Okay. Yeah, Pirate
The
Case said that there was a real chicken that lived for 18 months after having its head cut off.
Yep, definitely Mike then. That's his name.
Yeah, it said due to the owner's failed attempt to behead Mike, the chicken was still alive, able to balance on a perch and walk clumsily. He attempted to preen, peck for food and crow, although with limited success. His crowing consisted of a gurgling sound made in his throat. When Mike did not die, the owner instead decided to care for the bird. He fed him a mixture of milk and water via an eyedropper and gave him small grains of corn and worms.
And put him on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any part of that story that's not messed up?
No.
The guy botched the job of killing him, so then he decides to nurse him back to health and take him on tour.
Yep. I just forgot his name. I've known about the chicken for a while. So it reminded my sister of my toe.
As soon as you mentioned headless chicken, I remembered it, but I
Yeah.
didn't know his name either. I had to Google it.
Oh, hey, TV Tube.
Seems to be researcher is my thing from some days.
Yep.
I'm sitting in chats and listening to people talk, and they're talking about something like the other day I was in a genetically modified skeptics Discord, and they were talking about backburning and stuff, and how that's been illegal in Australia, and that's part of the reason why the fires are so bad. And
Yeah.
so I Googled it, and I was like, well, actually, it's not backburning that's the problem. It was this, and they did it because of this. And they were like, oh, thank you. We needed that information for the conversation.
Yep, you've done that on here plenty of times. And you're definitely a lot quicker on the keys than I am, so even when I'm trying to look up the same stuff, you always find it a lot faster than I do.
I don't know that I don't know that you could do something like that on purpose. Be Mindful said
it.
You said Be Mindful says, how do we know that he didn't do it on purpose to make money? And that's just the kind of thing that only happens by accident, at least in my brain.
Well,
Mhm.
no, I could see if the guy had the idea that this would make money. It's quite possible, Mike could have been like the 18th or 20th attempt.
Yeah.
Of course, that yeah, we found a way to make the story even more screwed up than it already was. So
Yeah, making it like a purposeful attempt.
Yep. But I could see somebody, trying that just as a way to get the notoriety, the level of fame that he'd get his picture in the newspapers and that.
Oh, apparently Mike made them a fortune, so a small fortune before Mike died. But if it was really that successful, wouldn't they have made another one?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like after it's been done once, I could see someone trying to do it again, but like just out of the top of my head, I'm gonna try and behead this chicken and make it live so I can make money off of it. It's just it seems to me like a whole chain of non sequiturs. Like you don't go from one to the other at any time unless it's already happened.
Yeah, and everything you're saying is perfectly reasonable, but I know how random my own mind can be, and will string together things that you would never think were related. and come up with some really ridiculous things.
Hmm.
You know, that's I have seriously thought about that. That yeah, I really could have started a Woo channel just because I can, you know, I can take 3 random facts and somehow string them together into a somewhat plausible story.
I love watching those, like the debunking Woo that I saw Jen had done recently with like, oh crap, what was it?
Yeah, well,
Spiritual detox. It was the spiritual detox one, I
yep.
think, where he's just like stringing random things together and not like explaining in any way, shape, or form how or why they're supposed to work.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that sloth girl was saying that's why she won't play Boulder Dash with me.
I've never heard of that game.
Oh, well, basically, you know, it's you get a card with a word on it and a definition, and everybody has to guess whether you're telling them the actual definition or whether you're just making something up.
Oh. So I'm guessing you're really good at bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can make up stuff that's actually more convincing than the actual definition. You know, I can make up things that it just sounds right.
Well,
I have
that's
to
fun.
do that. I have to do that at work sometimes. Like, you know how paper has brightness levels to it?
Hmm.
We had a guy come in and ask what the different brightnesses meant. And of course, I was the only person that they would bring a customer to for that kind of thing, because nobody in my work has got the brains for that. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this is the kind of person who's not going to go away until we actually give him an answer. So I told him, I said, the brighter paper is the kind that you want to use if you're printing pictures, because more of the white is going to be blocked out by the colors. Whereas if you're printing a document with lots of words, you want the duller paper so that the brightness of the paper doesn't strain your eyes.
Sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Seems reasonable to me too. That's why I said it. And then later on, the associate that brought me the person was like, "Is that true?" I said, "I don't really know." Seemed reasonable at the time.
Yeah. Well, I would guess it has something to do with, you know, how reflective it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, if it's bright because never mind. This was years ago. I don't need to start thinking about that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm just guessing at it. I don't know. You know, but I know photographers have this little, you know, photometers that they can measure how reflective a surface is when they're setting up their camera equipment. Oh, hi, Maya. Oh. All right, trying to pop my spine back in line again.
Having issues?
No, you know, too much bending and lifting.
How much more work do you need to do before you're done packing and junk?
I've still got quite a bit of packing to do. Yeah. Yeah, and also, Sloth Girl often, you know, says she needs a tall person. She can't reach any of the high shelves.
Ah.
And then once we get it all packed up and we get the truck, then comes the fun part that I get to put it all into the truck and stack it all in there and then drive it 350 miles and then pull it all out of the truck again. So yeah,
that
we're
doesn't sound
trying to
fun.
find some help with that, but so far nothing definite.
How long will it take you to travel from one place to the other?
Well, I expect the actual drive time is probably going to be about 8 hours, allowing for a couple of stops there. Yeah, because we've got to stop at least a couple of times for the cats to have a chance to have a bit of food and water. I mean, theoretically, if you could drive straight through and it was perfect weather and perfect driving conditions, you could probably make it in about 6 hours. Because a good stretch of the drive, Highway 35 from Duluth down to almost down to Minneapolis has a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit.
That's
And
really, really fast.
yeah, so that's like like about 100 miles that you can be doing that. And since it's a 75 miles an hour speed limit, if you're not doing at least 85, someone's going to rear-end you.
And my boyfriend wonders why I don't like to drive. He made me drive about half of the trip back to see my dad after my mom passed away. But this was at like 10 o'clock at night, so there was nobody on the road anyway. So
Yeah. Well, that's part of why driving today was really bad, because we had the blowing and drifting snow, and it's like it was just enough of it that it was like, it would just keep refreezing. So like long strips of the highway that were just like black ice.
I keep getting calls from my power company saying, expect power outages. Because we're having an ice storm. Another one. Not really that big of a deal, but it can be inconvenient.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This was about the photography thing I mentioned. Jenny Morgan typed something that's called incident light, the light that falls upon an object. The other is reflective light, and obviously that's the light that reflects off of the object.
I haven't even considered the weather. But the weather was actually good enough for us to go to a botanical garden, so it wasn't that bad today.
Yep. Yeah, Jenny's saying it's going to be 14 below for her tonight.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be below zero because we were only a couple digits above most of the day.
It's about 38 where I'm at right now.
Oh, so it's warm. Get out the shorts.
Yeah, 38 degrees, we'd be out in t-shirts.
It's not going to be that bad tonight. It's going to go down to 2.
Yeah,
But we're having snow. Snow and ice. And there's a glazing warning.
Yeah. For the most part, it doesn't bother me unless I have to drive in it.
I don't like chipping out my car.
Well, yeah, that too. Of course, if you have a real problem with the ice frozen on the windows, you can squirt it with some isopropyl alcohol and that'll help loosen it up.
How much alcohol do you need to dissolve a half-inch of ice?
Yikes.
I don't know, but yeah, I keep at least a pint of it behind the driver's seat in my car at all times, just for that.
Yeah, because I really can't see doing that. What I did was I warmed up my key.
Yeah.
And then I used my key to thaw out my lock.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that helps is, if you can get an extension cord out to the car, just take a hairdryer on it to warm up the windshield.
Oh, if I had a plug outside, I would.
Yeah, that's like I say, if you can actually get an extension cord out to the car. For us, that would never work because the parking lot is actually across the street from the building.
I mentioned that to someone that I would take a hairdryer to my car, and they laughed at me. So I'm glad you said that.
Oh no, I've done it before.
Because it's like, come on.
Yeah, Sloth Girl's saying you get one that plugs into the car's cigarette lighter.
That would be nice. If you could get the door open.
Yeah. I've
I
had that
did
problem with my car sometimes too.
Yeah.
I said I got stuck in my car once. We had some we had door problems where we couldn't open from the inside, period.
Mhm.
But what we would do is roll down the window and just reach outside and open, right? So I drive to work, I get to the parking space, I go to roll down my window's frozen shut. I can't get out of the car.
I've had that happen.
Thankfully, one of my coworkers was walking by, and I tooted the horn at him a couple times, and he finally looked over and recognized me. And I just pointed at my door, and he walked over, and then I said, "I'm stuck. Let me out." He opened the door and started laughing his ass off at me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I've had times that the windows wouldn't roll down. I've also known people who have burned out the motors on their automatic windows with that, which is another reason why I'm glad that I've got a car that's got the manual window cranks.
I couldn't deal with that
I
anymore.
don't need the power windows. Every single car I've had that's had the power windows, I've wound up having to take the door apart to replace the motor in the driver's window. It's like, yeah, it's not a big enough advantage to me to have to deal with that every time.
See, I've never had a car. I've never had a car that has had its windows stop working.
Yeah. Well, the only real advantage I see to the power windows is that you can, operate the passenger side window from the driver's seat. So like in the summer when it's really hot, you can open up the window on the other side to get more air blowing through. That's the only advantage to it. Yeah, and yeah, that's only an issue because I've also never had a car that the air conditioner worked. But yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I honestly do not believe I've ever owned a vehicle that was less than 10 years old when I got it.
Oh.
Yep, Marvin was the second one. Yep, Marvin the Paranoid Nova.
That's cute.
Yep. Well, Marvin was actually a replacement for Arthur Dent. See, when Arthur Dent broke the timing chain, that was a 76 Nova I had. And when the timing chain broke, it basically just destroyed the whole engine.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the police auction, and they happened to have a 76 Nova that the rear axle was bent, so nobody else was going to bid on it. So I got it for like $75. I took the rear axle out of the one with the bad engine, put it in the other one, and I had a functional car again.
Good deal.
I snapped my debit card in half because I was trying to get into my car.
Oh. Were you trying to use the debit card as an ice scraper?
I needed to chip out the ice between where the, in the little gaps where the car door
Okay.
connects.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing thin enough. I got 90% of it done and snapped it by accident.
Yeah, Sloth Girl's saying that, yeah, you should never use an actual card for that. That's why you save the Walmart gift cards after you've used them up.
I don't get those. But the hair dryer, Jenny, I wouldn't do that to the glass. I would do that to the metal. To do things like open the car door
Yeah, well, and
or
you
unfreeze the
certainly
lock.
wouldn't. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't want to use it on the high heat setting because that definitely would crack the glass.
Yeah, that's so you can like unfreeze your gas tank cover.
Yep.
Things like that. That's not for glass. It's
Yeah, it's mostly for unfreezing the locks.
yeah, so you can
But it
get
actually
in
on
the car, and once you can
yeah,
turn on the car and you hit your G, let it heat up and then turn on your
yeah.
defrosters.
Although even on the low heat setting, you could use it, but rather than putting it on the glass, I'd put it from the outside on the ice because then you could see as soon as the ice started to get liquid, then know to move it away so you're not heating one spot for long enough to damage the glass.
I needed it for my tires too, because they were pretty much frozen. I
Wow.
ended up having to take a hammer to that.
Sounds like you were really stuck in good there.
Oh yeah. And then I left and I came back, but during the day when I was out, my roof had melted a little bit, so all the ice and snow went into the middle of the road, and I tried to get through, and it was too deep. My wheels were spinning, and I had to, basically, my neighbors all came out with shovels and they helped because they wanted to leave, and I was in the middle of the road stuck. And if I'm stuck, they're gonna get stuck. So we all just sort of shoveled away until we could get my car up and they could get out.
Yeah.
It's been a mess here this week because it's not the usual fluffy snow we get. It's been slushy.
Yeah, that's the worst stuff, especially if it gets slushy and then it refreezes.
Hmm. It's been snow, icy rain, and then snow with the deep freeze at night, turning it into just a mess.
Yeah.
I'd rather just have regular snow.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to drive on that stuff.
You should see the locals. They've been like, it's like watching people ice skate, but it's terrible.
Yeah, and the other thing people don't get is they buy these SUVs and these things with four-wheel drive, thinking it's going to get them through the winter. And none of these people understand the simple principle that four-wheel drive doesn't make any difference when you're braking. And that's why you always see these SUVs flipped upside down in the ditch.
I tell you this, we have roads that wind and a lot of hills, but instead of the side, we have nothing but ditches. Ditches and rock cliffs. Or just like a long drop. Either into like the woods or water. And people just I was trying to pick up my friend from work and I'm going 10 miles an hour and a 25 because I'm having trouble climbing the hill and someone just speeds by me.
Yep.
And oh, was I surprised to see them hit a tree? No. And that's my biggest nightmare, that I'm either going to end up in a ditch, hitting someone's house, hitting somebody's tree, or going off the side and falling down the cliff. That's my biggest fear. So I take it really easy. But I I don't even think the locals know how to deal with this much ice. Because usually it's pretty fluffy snow.
Yeah, I had an incident about 25 years ago or so that just trying to turn down the ramp to get onto the highway, everything was glare ice. So the truck did not turn. It just went straight over the edge,
Oh no.
which was like a 15-foot tall embankment. And yeah, I was completely all four wheels in the air, nothing touching the ground, dropped straight down 15 feet into the snow.
Oh my goodness.
So just check that nobody was hurt, and it managed to drive out of it on its own.
I would have shat myself.
Oh yeah, Soft Girl is reminding me about just missing a power line on the way.
That happens during rainstorms here. Because the trees will come down and you're driving along and it's like, hit the brakes! And there's a power line right at car level and you're just like, huh. Because I don't have a cell phone to report it. So I'm stuck.
Yeah,
Need to turn around but can't really turn around because the road is too narrow. Can't really do a K-turn because the road is way too narrow. Some of these roads are only single cars and
yeah.
one way, and you just do what you have to.
Well, we're driving around out in the rural areas here. Generally, it's a good idea to keep a chainsaw in your vehicle because you never know when you're going to have to clear a tree off of the road to be able to drive through.
Nah, I just waited for the fire department to show up. That was the day that it took me 4 hours to get home.
Yeah,
Like
well,
a
if it's a
20-minute
down power
drive.
line, you don't want to mess with it. Yeah, you want to make sure they get somebody from the utility company to take care of that.
And it was pouring so badly. It was in my Honda. And my
Yep.
Honda had a windshield problem, so there was rain just coming right down over me the whole time. And I'm just doing my best with a coffee cup to catch some of it. And it was just awful. Just awful. But you do what you have to.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't want to mess with the power lines, and
No.
especially if it's raining, because if you've got a live power line that's touching the water, just stepping in the puddle, you can electrocute yourself.
No, I stayed in the car. I was just like,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing to do because the rubber tires will keep you insulated.
You okay?
Yeah, just trying to adjust my position, change the angle of my back.
I really wish you the best of luck on the move.
Yeah, I'll get through it. I mean, definitely going to be sore, but we'll get through it.
It's like one of the things I hate the most is moving. And I guess maybe I'm going to be moving thing is affecting me because I keep throwing things out lately. Like
Oh,
if I had to move, I wouldn't want to move that, so that has to go. I've been dropping things off at the thrift shop all week.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Sloth Girl took the opportunity to clean out her closet. So yeah, she really only kept about a third of her wardrobe, and the rest of it went to a thrift store.
yeah, that's my boyfriend and I have been talking about it and saying, that we're probably going to stay in our current apartment for another year. But next year we're going to have to try and find something smaller or less expensive. And that's one of the things I'm looking around the apartment going, man, we got a lot of crap in here that we're going to have to go through.
It's amazing how much crap you can accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I had lost everything I own about 20 years ago. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to rebuild after this. And now I'm just like, I don't need this. I don't need that. But it took me, I think up until like 5 years ago to actually accumulate stuff that I don't want anymore. But then again, I do have rude friends who have gifted me things when they're moving. You know what I mean? Like one of them moved to California and she gave me a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want.
Well,
Yep.
our biggest thing is that we've got a lot of movies and books is the biggest thing that we've got, taking up a lot of space.
Yeah, well, that's my fiance had a considerable library
Well,
to the point that she had finally decided that she gave up the dining room set so that we had room for more bookshelves.
Well, it's just I'm surprised that nobody has come up with a storage system where you can, like, what I want is um um you know words
What you want is
like
container?
containers, like that hold a set number of movies that can then stack and be put into another container. So you have one big container, and then inside of it maybe you have 5 or 6 smaller containers that contain individual sets of movies, so that you can box them down. Like, you could take the big box, put it in the truck, and then move all the little containers to put them in there, instead of either having boxes just full of movies that are too heavy to lift.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you've got to watch out for is using appropriate size boxes.
See, that's
Like
why I
you
rent
can't use
things
larger
online.
boxes for that. Yeah.
We just rent things online or we buy electronic books. We don't buy any more paper.
Yeah, I mean, most of what I've got is stuff that I've had for ages already.
Well, if it's depending on the book or whatever, you might want to check to see if you can eBay any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been a lot of books that, well, there's a few that I had that I wanted to replace, especially in my true crime library.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked up the titles online, it was like, oh, okay. Well, actually, my book was quite valuable. You know?
Right.
Yep.
And
Well,
it's like I could have made a mint.
no, but the thing is that you have to consider, are they selling at the price that people are listing it at? Because I will get every so often, my aunt will send me a news article telling me that the Princess Diana
Book?
Beanie Baby
Oh.
Beanie Baby is selling for $5,000. And
Well,
I'm
no,
like,
no. I'm talking about like I bought the book for $1.98 and I'm looking on eBay and it's been bid on and it's gone up to $30.
oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like a forecasted thing because that's like my ex with the Shirley Temple dolls.
Hmm.
No. Um this is something that's already been bid on, and I didn't even look to see what the closing price on the Russian serial killer books that I had. I was just like, I'm done.
Hmm.
I just ended up buying the electronic version, and now I can't lose it, you know. My little collections, I've you wait until there's a sale or something and you just buy the ones you need, but I still haven't gotten like half of my books that my boyfriend stole. There's some of them I'll never be able to replace.
Yeah. Well, and actually, eBay has a useful feature that a lot of people aren't aware of.
What?
That you can look at completed auctions and you can select and have it show you only the ones that actually sold. So you can see, what the highest price that item sold at, like in the last 6 months.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I use that a lot when I'm selling stuff on eBay because that's how I can figure out how to set prices on things if I'm just going to do the straight out buy and not have the actual auction going. Just look at what they've sold for recently.
I wish I could replace my books, but I can't.
So I've got some guy trying to claim that two gay men adopting a child is the same as slavery.
What? How?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I don't. He
Yeah.
says he says homosexuals do not have children, they buy them. The buying and selling of human beings is known as slavery. I commented with there seems to be no signs of intelligent life anywhere.
That is the most bizarre thing I've heard in a while.
So like the obvious conclusion of that is would be well what about straight people who adopt?
There's no pleasing some people.
Mm-hmm.
No, you just can't win with a bigot.
No.
If somebody is a true bigot, no matter what you respond, they'll find some way to twist it around.
That's like a real kick in the teeth to hear something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the very same people who would rather have you put a baby up for adoption than have an abortion. But they would never adopt.
Yeah.
You know, it's all this. They would vote against school lunches. They would vote against education. They would vote against, basically quality of life for people. But, you know,
Yeah. The Sloth Girl
Mm.
just had a weird incident last time we were in Walmart.
hmm, tell
Oh,
me.
That Yeah, just in the bread aisle, just this random guy that she had never seen before starts bitching about the music they're playing, that they played 3 homo songs in a row. Yeah, and we're still both trying to figure out what's a homo song. Because it's like it's not like they were playing any songs that were like
well, what songs?
romantic things about same-sex couples or anything.
She doesn't happen to remember what the songs were, do you?
Yeah, do you remember what any of the songs were?
I've never heard of my life.
No. Yeah, she didn't recognize any of them. But
I would have had to go up to the guy and be like, "What homo songs were that? I wasn't paying attention."
yeah.
I would have been.
Yeah, she just didn't want to engage him at all. She just wanted to get out of there.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, no.
I think that's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Doc.
What's up, Doc?
I mean, I guess you can find
Glad somebody had to do it.
weirdness in every corner, just waiting to expose itself, but uh, I don't understand why people would focus on, well, this is a homo song. Uh, this just seems so toxic.
Yeah. Well, I'm.
What?
Oh, just the for some people, it's just the artists do that, and it's like I have heard things to that effect of some of the rather redneck types that that they listen to the country music all the time, and it's like the newer country, they think the guys are gay because they're not as rough and manly as the classic country stars were.
Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
toxic.
And their dogs.
Yeah, soft girl singing about the trucks and the wives that left them and their dogs. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I've been thinking that as they're getting these self-driving cars worked out, it's only a matter of time before we've got a country song from a guy about how his truck left him.
I like that idea.
I mean, that's fair. I mean,
Holy shit. Can
can't
you hear that?
argue with that logic.
All the sirens
No.
just went off in my area.
Oh,
Can you hear that?
Mm-mm.
no, I'm not hearing it.
Some kind of event. Hopefully a local's not burning down their house.
Yeah, where we live, they use the air raid siren to call the volunteer fire department.
Yep, we've got that
And
right around the corner.
yeah, that's the siren is 2 blocks from our apartment building. So when it goes off in the middle of the night, that's real fun. Because the way they do it, that the siren keeps going until everyone from the volunteer fire department has checked in. So the
Yeah.
siren can go continuously for 45 minutes.
Well, just in case, I'm going to turn off my computer because usually things like this are followed by a power out.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
I'll
Makes
talk to
sense
you.
to protect your equipment.
Exactly. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Oh no, now it's just me and you and boredom. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still goofing around with this new phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you should have asked me. I would have got. Okay. No, it's kind of counterproductive to hurt yourself getting the painkillers.
yes, that is true.
Yeah, well, just since I had the headphones on, I didn't hear her asking about them. They would have been easier for me to reach than for her to try and walk
Bitch.
by the bins that I've been packing.
Right. Mm.
Holy shit!
Oh my goodness. My boyfriend cannot sit. I can't do that. Never mind.
What?
I was gonna bitch about my boyfriend, but I'm like, he just bought me a camera lens, so I can't do that. It's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had free admission to the botanical gardens, so he took me to the botanical gardens today. Otherwise, I couldn't understand who'd pay $21 to go there on a day like today. Anyways.
Yeah, you better not.
Stop! No!
I can always
love-
cancel the camera order.
came over to be mean to me.
Yeah, we definitely heard that one.
Yeah, his dad surprised him.
Yeah, Sloth Girl even heard that through my headphones.
Yeah, he literally crawled right up on my mic, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm on the YouTubes. Stop embarrassing me. It's his favorite pastime to try and embarrass me, though.
He's rather good at it.
They say you're rather good at embarrassing me. But his dad sent him a surprise amount of money for his birthday, so we've been trying to deal with our washer and dryer a situation with our washer and dryer, and so that dealt with that. The only problem is now we have the responsibility for dealing with a washer and dryer set when and if we move.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing I realized is going to be a extra expense for us. Hello.
What's that? Hey, Jen.
Well,
Hi,
just
hi.
at the new apartment, it's going to be the coin operated laundry machines,
Oh,
and just well, so far the building we're in had them too, but we were always able to just take our laundry with us when we went over to my brother's for gaming day.
oh, gotcha. Well, look into seeing if is the apartment that you're going to have plugs for that kind of thing in them, or no?
Yeah, no,
No.
I'm sure that they wouldn't have the water hookups for them.
Oh, I gotcha then.
Oh my god, you're our ingenious invention.
My apartment has the hookups inside the apartments,
What, the car visors?
but if you don't want to, you
Oh,
don't have to have them. You can go to the wash. They have a washroom with coin laundry machines.
yeah, I did make a redneck washing machine for mostly for Sloth Girl to be able to wash out small things when she needs to,
Oh yeah.
like if you get a stain on a shirt or something. Yeah, it's just you get a 5-gallon bucket that's got a good tight fitting lid, and you cut a hole in the center of it, and you put a buy a clean plunger just to agitate it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
But
it works pretty well.
you know that you can actually get, like, you know how there's dishwashers that you can hook up to your faucet?
Yeah.
You can actually get clothes washers that do the same thing. I had one time.
Oh yeah, I know you can.
I'm not sure if it's
You
worth
know.
it, but
Yeah, it's probably not, and then also it's a matter of the amount of space it takes up in a small apartment.
true.
And the bigger issue is not even so much washing them as drying them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, because my ex-husband and I, we had a point where we were living together, and his best friend's parents had converted their 2-car garage into an apartment, and I'm fairly certain that this was done illegally, but whatever. And his mother got one of those from someone, um, where we could hook it up to the sink and do laundry. But they wouldn't let us use it. His friend's parents wouldn't let us use it because it made too much. It used up too much electricity,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would have to use it to wash his work clothes, and that was it. Like when his friend and his friend's parents would go out to work,
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
allowed to do one load of wash a day, and that was his work clothes.
Yeah.
But we ended up drying them by just hanging them in the. I took two chairs and some twine or something and made a clothesline inside the apartment.
my last apartment had a washer and dryer, the same floor, right in the bathroom.
And we've
So
got the hookups.
shower, bath, toilet, and laundry all in one room. It was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. I've said that if my boyfriend and I were to do something like one of the
What's your
things,
boyfriend's first name?
Corey.
Could you call him Corey?
Okay, if it makes it easier to have the conversation than we keep saying my boyfriend, my boyfriend, my boyfriend.
Yeah.
What I was saying to him is that I want to do personally the tiny house thing, you know,
Mhm.
not like super tiny, not like these people that are living on, 100 square feet or something, but maybe 5, 6, 700 square feet,
Yep.
and
That's 700 square feet. You're getting into an untowable amount. You'd have to build it on site. That's not movable.
yeah, no, I know. But the one thing I told him was, it's like if we have to, the washer and the dryer need to be in the bathroom too, not like in our
Yeah.
current apartment. The washer and dryer is in the kitchen,
Hmm.
so it would be nice to just be able to like undress for a shower and throw all the clothes in the washing machine and not have to have hampers and whatnot all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just, he's in the back going wah 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 wah. It's just a convenience thing. It's not like the biggest deal ever.
Start calling him your ex-boyfriend. Give him a jab in the ribs.
Yeah. I actually had a plan, made up, and I could have built myself a not really a mobile home, but something that could be towed and deployed. I think once you put it up, you probably would never want to move it again. But I had it worked out with the whole system of, like slide outs and fold outs so that it was designed on an old mobile home chassis that is sitting on my mom's property.
Hmm.
That's like, 9 feet wide and like 44 feet long. But, I was going to have the thing unfold so that, it would have been about 600 square feet once the whole thing was set up.
Well, my thing is, it's
But
like,
the problem is just, you know,
go ahead.
even to do that, I would have needed the land, and, having the piece of land and having all the utilities run into the land, would have been just, well, I mean, even buying the land itself wouldn't have been the big expense, but having all the utilities run in.
Hmm.
So I would have never had the money for that kind of thing, just didn't have the capital for it.
Yeah. The thing that I've seen ones where, like, when they say like 600 square feet, but it's like 2 stories where there's a loft.
Hmm.
And so my idea would be to have one end of the building would be the room like for our computers, and it would be like 2 spots on the corners for corner desks, and then everything else in the room would be shelving. And then above that would be a loft with the bed, and then you would come out into the kitchen dining room area, and then on the other side would be the bathroom with washer and dryer in with the bathroom stuff.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, I've seen that set up in a number of houses where the washer and dryer were just, under the counter with the bathroom sink, or especially when they had the stackable sets.
mhm.
At this point, I'd just be happy to have one in the same building I'm living in.
Mhm.
There's no space for it in here, so I got to go to the laundromat. which
Yeah,
was
that's
okay
always a pain having to.
when you were 20 years old, but
I just thought about it now. It's like now when my boyfriend and I move, we always have to go somewhere that has in apartment hookups for washers and dryers. So he says that's common, so I guess that's fine, but whatever. It was just something that occurred to me right now.
Yeah, I guess whether or not it's common depends on your area and your price range.
Mm-hmm.
or you could be in let's see, what's that say there, Kentucky right now. You just walk out the back door and wash your clothes in the flood. Man, we are so fucked up this planet.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my problem with an apartment is always a matter of what I think I can get away with, because it's like, I can do all the work. I could, do all the wiring and plumbing and everything. It's just a matter of, what am I going to be able to do without the landlord deciding to kick me out of the building?
Yeah. Diana
I
really
mean,
sounds like she lives in a place with an awful landlord. Um, she's made comments like she can't even hang pictures.
yeah.
And then it's like, what?
I mean, it just takes a little spackle and some paint to fix that.
Yeah, well, the whole building made out of concrete block didn't stop me from hanging stuff on the walls.
Or she could very easily get those hanging devices that don't even damage the wall. What do they do?
Yeah, those command strips.
Strips. There we go. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, sloth girls use those all over the place.
We have one here in my apartment. It is right behind the stove, and I have this heavy cast iron griddle. It's like a 12-inch diameter griddle out of cast iron.
Yep.
And it could support the weight of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed.
Yeah, some of those
that's
things
the same
are
thing with sloth
really
girl.
strong.
That the whole wall above her stove, she's got all of her pots and pans hanging up there.
I have no walls behind my pot to hang my pots and pans. I have them in my computer room. I've got one to hang my headphones on, and I've got one to hang a purse on, and then I've got suction cup ones in the bathroom because these apartments, the shelves that come in the stalls are so shallow that like everything I put on them falls off.
Yeah, the ones for the shower stalls are never designed for holding anything really.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are made for shoulders.
No, she's saying about the shelves in the shower,
Oh.
that they're always too narrow, and the shampoo bottles will never stand on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to do something about shelving in my shower. God, this is such a lousy apartment. It really is, but it's cheap, so I can afford it.
Yeah.
The shower, there's no tub. The shower is a stand up. I think the square foot at the bottom is maybe 3 by 3, maybe 3'6" by 3'6". There's just barely enough room to be in it. So you can't bend over to wash your feet or anything because there's nowhere to put your feet up. Like a stool or something on the inside. Yeah. And it's just awful. There's nowhere to put your shampoo or your soap. You got to throw it on the floor and then bend over and pick it up. Oh yeah, I forgot you can't bend over.
Yeah, ours are just showers also, but at least they're a bit bigger. They're like 3 foot by 5 foot. So yeah, sloth girl's got a bench in hers.
And then this toilet. This toilet is fairly old. It looks to be like it's one of the first generation of 1.6 flushers.
Yeah.
And a lot of those, all they did was put a smaller tank on them and the same bowl, and you have to redesign the bowl if you want it to work with 1.6,
Right.
as opposed to 3.
Yeah, otherwise it doesn't
This
get the water going fast enough to empty the bowl.
this fucking toilet clogs every time you use it, and unless you're crapping out diarrhea, and it even got clogged on that once. It just does not flush.
Yeah.
You got to keep a plunger there and use it almost every time.
Yeah, ours have the ones that they've got a compressed air tank in them.
Oh, those are real good, I hear.
Yeah, it's loud as hell. It scares the hell out of the cats. But yeah, it sprays the water through at a much higher pressure.
Oh.
And then the kitchen. Oh, yay.
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems. In ours, the kitchens are so tiny that Sloth Girl actually can't really stand at her kitchen sink because there isn't enough room between her kitchen sink and the refrigerator. Yeah.
I can stand at the sink, but only one person can be in the room at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there's no room to get past each other, even if you want to walk past somebody. Even if they're cooperating. It's horrible. It's really horrible. But like I said, it's cheap.
Yeah, so, not exactly sure what the new places are going to be like. She sent us a rough sketch of the floor plan, but with no dimensions.
Or windows.
But just as far as the overall square footage, it should be slightly larger than the ones we're in now. Basically, it looks to me, the one we're moving into is going to be a galley kitchen. So it looks to me like any extra square footage is going to be that it will be a bit of a larger kitchen with a bit more counter space. So in which case the bedroom and the living room is probably going to be about the same.
And the bedrooms actually have a door.
Yeah, Sloth Girl's all excited because the bedrooms will actually have doors on them.
All right.
Keep the cat out.
No, you can't.
Not at night, but during the day. When I'm gone,
No, you can't.
I can shut the bedroom door.
Yeah, and she'll retaliate. No, any fight between you and Petunia, you are going to lose. Because she is going to do something that you will not be able to tolerate. You know it.
She does get in there, she'll piss off.
Yeah, Petunia obviously was damaged by former humans. Yeah, so she is very insecure and
She's my little sidekick.
yeah, when things don't go her way, she will retaliate by marking things.
Oh, that's
Should
a
do.
nice way of putting it.
Yep.
You should do videos on your cats. Petunia in profile.
Yep. I was actually considering setting up a Twitter account for Sammy-san. I was considering setting up a separate Twitter account for Handsome Kitty.
Well, you better do that before somebody pulls a Marrow's snake on you. You're familiar with that, right? What I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that until yesterday that Mero and Nacha were a thing.
Oh,
I mean, I knew they were friends and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know that they were like hottie toddy for each other.
Yeah, I was pretty unclear on what their relationship was for quite a long time. It was only a couple of weeks ago that Nacha was blatant about it.
well, I think they were. I knew when I brought up the subject of shipping people, and that was basically when they were like, "Well, you're right," and I was like, "Oh, really?" Because I was commenting about how I've shipped people for nothing more than being in the same country. Like I shipped Paul and Shannon before I knew that they were a couple,
Hmm.
and then when I found out that Mero and Nacho were in the same country, I'm like, I ship it. And then I shipped Bud with somebody, and there was things said, and I was like,
What do you mean
okay,
shipped?
relationships. It's a thing.
Oh, okay, I got
It's
it. Yeah,
you know, watching a TV show or something, and say
Yeah,
two
it's
it's
characters
like
usually
my
a
shipping
rent.
together.
fiction thing.
It's like my rents.
Yeah.
Mhm. Um, and then I tried to do it with Jen, and the person that I said I basically said that I didn't see her with one person, and then she was like, "Oh, if we were closer, we'd be a thing." And I was like, "Oh, well, you can't be right every time."
Well, it's actually, that makes me quite hopeful because, that means Nacha and Paulogia and Godless Engineer, all wound up getting a relationship from having a YouTube channel. So maybe there's still a chance that I'll find somebody worthwhile yet.
Well, if you're this good at this PK,
Huh?
No, I'm not doing it anymore.
Your voice is breaking.
I was just
'Cause
gonna say, get that Amy Hogan to give me some time. Never mind.
yeah.
I'm gonna be on Amy and Ilya's show Sunday.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen David Worley's David Worley seems to be coming up in the atheist interviewing scene.
Yep.
Yes, he is apparently.
He started out. I
Cool.
you know, I mean, what was it? Seth Andrews recently, and then
Yeah, he's been getting some big names on there recently.
oh yeah, now and his next one is going to be Andrew Seidel.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Andrew Seidel is the Freedom from Religion Foundation's lawyer, and he wrote a book. The recent thing with him was he wrote a book, and some guy made a comment about it, and so Andrew Seidel sent him a copy of the book and said, "Here, read it, and actually, tell me what you have an opinion on it." And he burnt the book.
He
Hmm.
burnt it.
Yep, set it on fire on
What an
video.
what an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yeah, and the point he made that way was what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he made the point that he's a jerk
Yeah.
and completely closed-minded.
Okay, well, I did say I need to keep this short tonight, so I think I should be wrapping it up here. Okay, so
Wrap
Jenny,
it, baby.
said you've got an appearance coming up Sunday?
Yes, Sunday 6:30 on one of their channels. I don't know the name of the show. All I know is by Amy Hogan and Ilya Moon. And I'm looking forward to it. They're both very smart people, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Amy's great.
it'll be nice to see what they have to offer for a show. Then of course movie night, which is Friday night at 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern, and sometime in the afternoon on Pacific. And way in the future if you keep going west. But regardless, we're going to be having our Valentine's Day special. We'll leave it at that so we don't spoil the surprise. And Sunday afternoon, I might go hang out and see if Diana's doing anything and torture her on her show. But
good luck.
Planned.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I've been picking on Diana for months now. The first time I was able to get onto her stream, because I was not working, Kate was on the stream, and it was literally the Kate and Diana show the whole time. I was just sitting there, and every time I'd try and talk, I'd get talked over. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you guys do your thing. I'll just sit and listen. I'm totally cool with that. But it was just like, I just thought it was. So I've been picking on Diana every chance I get about that. It'd be like the Kate and Diana show,
That largely happens when the two of them are in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kate does like to talk quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. It's just.
Oh, she's very smart.
Yes. I mean, I'm not saying that as like a derogatory in any way. It's just I think it's funny how they can just go for hours and hours talking to just each other.
How did I lose my knife?
Okay, so how about you, Kitty? You
There
have
it is.
anything coming up?
Yes, I have an interview with Neil on the 19th.
DeGrasse Tyson?
No, Neil, the 604 atheist.
Okay.
I would shit bricks if I got a chance to do an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
So that'll be on Wednesday?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty tied up with things, and I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm probably not even going to be able to do movie night. So, like between now and Tuesday night, I just don't think I'm going to have any free time for anything.
That's understandable. You've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So, but then, yeah, next weekend, next Saturday, we're going to run a 24-hour relay marathon to, do a push for the fundraiser. We'll start Saturday morning and run it all through Saturday night. And then Diana will do the wrap up of it on her show on, her Sunday coffee show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what?
Well, I guess this is time to shut it down now. So we'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you all for coming.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yep. I'll see you back on next Wednesday.